नमस्कार, मैं हूं राकेश दलाल और आज हमारे साथ धनराज कोहली हैं। धनराज जी मेरे एलिमिनेशन कोर्स के लास्ट ईयर 2022 प्रीलिम्स में मेरे एलिमिनेशन कोर्स के स्टूडेंट रहे हैं। इनका बैकग्राउंड जो है 2022 प्रीलिम्स इनका थर्ड अटेम्प्ट था। हालांकि इनका प्रीलिम्स क्लियर नहीं हुआ, लेकिन सी सैट की वजह से अनफॉर्चुनेटली प्रीलिम्स क्लियर नहीं कर पाए। GS 1 में इनका प्रीलिम्स क्लियर स्कोर आ रहा है, कट ऑफ क्लियर लग रहा है, कट ऑफ क्लियर इनकी हो रही है एज पर दी ऑफिशियल ये जो कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स की जो आंसर की होती है उनके हिसाब से। तो धनराज का करीब 90 के आसपास स्कोर बन रहा है कोचिंग इंडस्ट्री की आंसर की के हिसाब से। एंड आज हम सब लोग इसलिए इकट्ठा हुए हैं बिकॉज धनराज का जो एक जो एक्सपीरियंस इनका रहा प्रीलिम्स में, इन्होंने सिर्फ 60 क्वेश्चंस के आसपास, 60 क्वेश्चंस के आसपास इन्होंने प्रीलिम्स 2022 में अटेम्प्ट किया और जिसमें से 49 क्वेश्चंस इनके सही रहे, जो कि एक अनबिलीवेबल काइंड ऑफ अटेम्प्ट है। हम सोचते हैं कि 60 क्वेश्चन तो बहुत कम होता है, जहाँ पे आप नॉर्मली अगर टॉपर्स की बात करेंगे जो एक जनरल सो टू से एक रेंज है, लोग बोलते हैं 80 to 90 की रेंज में रहेंगे। लेकिन यहाँ पे हमारे साथ एक स्टूडेंट हैं, एक एस्पायरेंट हैं, जिन्होंने 60 सिर्फ क्वेश्चंस अटेम्प्ट किए और उसमें भी इन्होंने प्रीलिम्स क्लियर किया। सर्टेनली एलिमिनेशन का कुछ रोल है, सर्टेनली इनकी नॉलेज का कुछ रोल है, PYQs का कुछ रोल होगा। तो क्या दिमाग में चला, कैसे इन्होंने, क्यों सिर्फ 60 अटेम्प्ट्स किए, बहुत सारे और इसी तरीके के सवाल जो आप लोगों के मन में होंगे, इसके लिए धनराज यहाँ पे हैं। तो गाइज आप सब लोग अपना जो भी आप अपना हाथ रेज कर दीजिए, हैंड रेज कर दीजिए। आई विल कम टू यू एंड यू कैन स्टार्ट with asking धनराज एनीथिंग दैट यू हैव। एक बात नोट रखिएगा कि धनराज भी सिर्फ एक एस्पायरेंट ही है, आप ही की तरह एक एस्पायरेंट है। हम यहाँ इसलिए इकट्ठा हुए हैं क्योंकि जो धनराज का जो एक्सपीरियंस है उससे हम अपनी स्ट्रैटेजी, अपने अटेम्प्ट्स, जो भी आपका सिचुएशन है उसमें आपको कुछ बेनिफिट हो सके, कुछ इनपुट्स मिल सके। ये नहीं बोला जा रहा कि जो जो भी धनराज कह रहा है वो सही है, या जो भी कोई और कह रहा है वो सही है गलत है। वो सही और गलत की बात नहीं, बात सिर्फ ये है कि कुछ चीजें हैं जो डिफरेंट हैं, नॉर्मल से डिफरेंट है, और वो एविडेंस बेसिस पे सही प्रूव हुई हैं। तो उसके लिए आपको कुछ भी चीज उनसे पूछना चाहे आप इनसे आप पूछ सकते हैं। एक चीज का ध्यान रखेंगे कि धनराज पे किसी भी तरह का परफॉर्मेंस प्रेशर फिर ना हो, कोई भी ऐसी उम्मीद नहीं होना चाहिए कि वो हमेशा ही धनराज जो बोल रहा है वो सही कर रहा है, या एलिमिनेशन उसका बहुत अच्छा है। ऐसा अच्छा है एलिमिनेशन उसका, नो डाउट, लेकिन उसके ऊपर ऐसा परफॉर्मेंस प्रेशर नहीं आना चाहिए। अब इस साल भी मेरा स्टूडेंट है धनराज, तो सिर्फ इस बात का थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखते हुए आप जो चाहें उसके अटेम्प्ट के बारे में आप पूछिए, और जितना हो सकेगा वो बेस्ट अपना आपको गाइड करेगा। गिव मी अ रेज्ड हैंड, किसके पास कौन पूछना चाहता है धनराज से? वेंकटेश, अगर आप अपना कैमरा खोल सके, प्लीज ओपन योर कैमरा। And
Yes,
guys,
please.
everyone else also, whoever can, open your cameras, please. And Venkatesh, please go ahead.
Sir, like I have some questions. I have made some questions.
Yeah, yeah.
So actually, I wanted to ask, what was the role of test series in your preparation?
What was the role of test series, coaching industry test series in your preparation, Dhanraj?
So basically, I did give some test series, so the role of test series is basically to improve the knowledge. Like generally, if you see test series, right, they'll give more weightage on the facts, or they'll purposefully
Mhm.
put some things that we don't know. So
Exactly.
those take, and I took test series as part, like, to increase my knowledge only. Like wherever I went wrong, I just took note of it. Okay, this is where I need to read Lakshmikant more carefully, or this is where I need to know history, facts more carefully. So
Okay.
I took it more from a perspective that this will increase, the test series will increase my knowledge, not like this score will make, this score is reflection of what I'm going to perform or what I'm going to do in my prelims attempt. It is just for the knowledge sake, like more and more knowledge. Because usse, better than test series, nowhere else you'll get the finest knowledge, because they'll pick these points somewhere from Lakshmikant, they'll pick this, like Article 19 ka base, some corner case. So it refines your knowledge. It will refine your reading more and more. At least my reading got refined when I took those questions like that.
So
So
the
like how many
primary,
test series did you give to get to
how
a
many
level?
tests, Dhanraj?
So like more than 10, what I would recommend more than 10 to more than 10, and it can go up to any number, whatever you want. But more than 10 is like, at least 10 is fine. Like you can give till 2 months. You still you to have 2 months. So at least 10.
Depending on the preparation level and the amount of
Yeah, yeah,
time you
yeah.
have in your hands, you can take a number, any range. There's no particular
Then
minimum or maximum. There's nothing like that. And test series are not mandatory to give, but if you have the room, once you have done the PYQs, once you are confident that you know the PYQs and you can protect yourself from the so to say bad questions or too excessively knowledge heavy questions in the test series, then that's okay. You can go with the test series. Then the range is up to you, how much time you have and how much preparation level that you are at.
Okay.
Any other question?
So actually, so like your prime focus was on PYQs, right? So,
yes.
like, what is the difference? Like, in practice, like you saw, like when we solve PYQ, like one time or two times, we tend to solve like say, like 80, 90 for us, for minimally. So, what made you think that you should like solve this many questions only, like 70 or 60 questions, as sir said? So, like,
During exam.
yeah.
So we used to have this call, and as part of the course we used to have the discussions,
He's
how much to
talking about
attempt.
the elimination course. He's talking
Elimination.
about my
Yeah.
elimination course of last year. Yes. Okay.
So in elimination course, we used to discuss these questions, and we used to always think, so elimination will, as we know that 100% it will not work. It will work for these many cases, and some percentages there. So you should keep that in mind. Like you can't rely like I'll go and attempt full paper. At least I thought so. I was clear that I will not give full. I'm not here to attempt full paper. So I am here to attempt whatever, like polity up to some extent is knowledge based only. Whatever you read, you'll have to, you get the answers. Then later there are like science and tech and other subjects where you can apply elimination. So overall, if you look, if we look that there is limited number of questions where you can attempt with normal elimination techniques. Like there are, as if you are part of this course, you'll know that there are level 1, level 2, some certain techniques are there. So basic techniques only will give you maximum range. And later, if you go, then there is a higher probability. You have to apply a higher level of techniques and all. So either you take that risk. I took minimum risk there. I didn't go for like every question. Even if I'm getting it by elimination, I have put circles after coming out of exam, and I saw the answer key. They were all like from elimination also, they were coming correct. But the point is that in the exam situation, we shouldn't like I was clear that not to attempt everything. Whatever I see, I will not attempt. I'll attempt whatever from basics. From basics, if it is getting solved, it is good. And thoda sa, or whatever extra effort I can put, I'll put, but not like too extreme. Like I'll try to make sure that this somewhere I can fit it and try to get the answer. That was not my thought. Like whatever I could. And once you start, at least when I started the paper, started was I took that, first I opened the paper and I started seeing that whatever. So one thing is, this as part of the discussion in the course also happened, that whatever is your best prepared section, you start with that. That is a general thing, that I'm not telling something anything new. So mine was like whatever I was well versed in polity, so I started with polity only, and then that confidence built up. Okay, so I know some questions. Then it went ahead with that. History, when it came, I skipped because I was not very confident about it. Then I came back to it later. So whatever was wherever I was confident, I moved ahead with that. So with that only, with that, even with knowledge, I solved some questions, and then elimination also worked in after that in many questions. So that is how I then I got the feel that I know I was getting the feel that I know I'm getting it right, because certainly you have practiced, you have seen a lot of PYQs, you see how the questions are framed and all. So looking at the question also, you will feel in a way that this is where the question is leading us. This is where the answer could be. Many questions were like you will like we will feel in the paper that why is this asked, or how come you will not be able to, like Vietnam question came out of random anywhere. But if you look at the question, with all this preparation, all these techniques, you will see that okay, there is some hint in the question. You can link those questions in group and tick that answer. There was this refugee camp question also. So these questions, if the my elimination, when I studied this techniques, and when I studied the when I saw the PYQs, after that, whatever the basis I created, after that I looked at the question, it made that question easier. If I look at like from without this perspective, those 3 5 terms will I have never seen, nor in the current affairs, nor in the anywhere else. But if you look at from the elimination technique perspective, there was a keyword, not keyword, you would say, like there was a logic there, or logic there, that that something probability was talking about this thing. So that made it more easier. So when I was sticking it, I had that confidence, okay, this will be only the right answer, it will not be something else. So that came with, once I practiced that whole journey from 2011 to 2021, which we had. And yeah, that practice helps. Where can the trap come? Where can the things can go wrong? Even today, I have problem in like some questions I can't eliminate, but then later when I see the solution, okay, I reflect that, okay, this is where I got wrong. This is where I should pay more attention, because these are the words with which generally the exam plays, or generally where the direction of questions change. That is what I feel. And you'll get the confidence once you enter that zone, right? When you start giving, you'll feel that confidence. Okay, this is this is what is happening. Okay, this is what is happening. This is what is happening. So that, and then I was certain. I put my pen down. So even before that question come, why I put my pen down for at 60 question, 61 question, because I was content. I was not having that thing that okay, I should attempt something more. Whatever I attempted, I was confident about that. Okay, whatever I attempted, it is um more or less from the level 1 level 2 techniques only. and and it was coming out easily, it was not coming out very tough. Like
जबरदस्ती नहीं
you push
करने
too
की
much,
जरूरत हो रही थी.
जबरदस्ती करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ी. I mean, I don't have to stress to get out that answer. I was like, okay, this is flowing with the this is
Yes,
flowing with the
yes,
question. So
yes,
that is why that is why I put my pen and I thought, okay, this is done. Because if I start overthinking now at
yes,
this point, then
yes.
surely negative will increase. And the problem is not you're correct, the problem is the more negative you go, because you attempt more than negative goes, and then there's no point, right? So
Absolutely.
that is where I stopped actually.
So the biggest point that you said, Dhanraj, is the energy that you felt. Like you got this inside in your heart, you felt this contentment that I have done enough, and this much, like most of the things that you have done, they will be correct only. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You got that
That
feeling in the
content,
exam.
that content was there in a
Okay,
way that
that
okay, I have
contentment.
attempted.
So guys, this is what the energy that I always keep talking about, whether it is the workshop, whether it is our classes, that when you do these questions more number of times, and we'll come to that, Dhanraj, how many times you did that. Anuj se bhi baat hua tha, he focused on 10 times, he did 10 times. We'll come to you also for that, how many times you did. But when you do these questions more number of times, you start to relate with the questions, you start to feel the question, like अपनापन महसूस होने लगता है questions के साथ. So you will feel the question will start to communicate with you, and then similar kind of energy you will start to feel. You will then firstly, when you do the PYQs, first time you will only be able to look at the words in the question, the information in the question. But with each subsequent time, you will be able to feel the depth of the question. You'll start to feel the negative, positive, the tone of the question. What is the stress of the statement, right? Is words, different words may be used, but some words may be useless. Some words may actually be important, right? So you will start to feel it only when you are doing it more number of times. And this is the reason why we have kept this target of doing the PYQs 10 times from 2011 till 2022 before the upcoming prelims. So Dhanraj, coming to you for this question, and somebody has asked it in the comments also, how many times did you do the PYQs from 2011 till 2021?
Okay, so so what I personally I would not have done it, maybe not 10 times, but what I did was I took each paper and solved it. Like I took put a time limit and solved the each paper, like from 2011 to 2021, with the time limit, and I solved. And my target was that how much can I, without much knowledge heaviness, without that, how much I can solve this paper. And that is where I solved it multiple times, and and I encircled the most basic doubts also, like basic questions also I encircled. Because why is this not, how can we solve it more better? So that was my target. So because analyzing each question individually, that was the more focus than like continuously solving it. Like I kept these questions aside. Okay, this is where I had doubt, this is where I had doubt, where this went wrong, where this went wrong. And certainly there were some questions where logic fails, or where technique fails, or where something happens. So that um that acceptance also should be there. I mean, sometimes we try too hard and try to focus, okay, how to fit in this logic and all. So that was never the focus. Okay, go with the flow, solve the paper with minimum whatever. Knowledge is something else. Like knowledge is always the best. Like whoever has knowledge, he can solve everything. But whatever the minimum knowledge you can go with the whole paper, then that is. Before even we discuss the techniques, I used to solve that paper so that I know that, okay, at least some amount of elimination I am getting or not. Then that was the thing. And I would have solved like one paper, I would have solved at least one time I would have solved. So that
Okay.
all the 10 papers, so that comes
So I mean, are we saying that you did the papers? You said multiple times you did the papers, right?
Yes.
So if you have to put a figure, maybe count नहीं किया, but किसी ने सवाल पूछा है कितने times आपने किया question, तो एक if you have to put a figure, तो कितना बोलोगे? 2 बार, 3 बार, 4 बार?
I mean, you should revisit each paper two at least minimum 2 times. You should visit the paper, because once you go ahead, like once you cross like 2011, 12, and 13, you reach 17 or 18. When you go back and see that paper, right, you'll find more logic, more thinking, more.
Yes.
It opens up more doors.
Absolutely.
Like if whoever is in the course, I don't know who is in this course this year,
Most of
but
most
whoever
of
is,
the students here are in the course only.
yeah, so most of students are there, right? So if you see, the HTBC and defect came very later. The paper stone changed quite
Later
late.
on, after
Yeah,
16, 17, 18. Yeah.
initially the whole game was based on linked, or whatever
Level 1
is
techniques, related,
related,
not
not
related.
related,
Yeah.
words have meaning or not. That thing was the basis. Then the tone changed.
Yes.
So the more go ahead, then you should come back and see, okay, what is this matching up now? And in
Yes.
2022 also, this related, not related also had the had more weightage. If you see questions from that perspective, it had more weightage.
Yes.
And and in general perspective also helps, like whenever you're solving. So there was one question which I remember, like since we have time, I'm discussing that question.
Please.
So there was one question where this I don't remember that fertilizer का कुछ question था कि neem seed are coated. Some question is there like that. So I remember we had a tough argument on that.
Neem
Why
coated
this
urea
answer?
वाला ना? Neem coated urea
Yes,
वाला?
yes, yes.
हाँ.
Yeah, it is neem coated. Some question is there. It is neem coated. So we had a very argument, and that argument went on for a long time. Last year. So you should feel that question has a feeling in itself. So what do we feel here is that the paper demands you to be more centric towards Indian problems, more centric towards what can be done, whatever technology or whatever bringing, what can be done for the betterment, not for, the most unprepared person will come for the exam. Not with that perspective, but with the perspective with what. So this sense also helped in solving the 2022 questions.
Yes.
Like looking back, if you see, there are some questions which we have, like the Pran Pratishtha one question, and that is what I and sir were also discussing, that certain questions have this feeling that we might think, okay, this is a very hard fact, or we should know, or something like that. But what, with what perspective we are coming to the exam, if we have seen all the questions from the previous year, we would see that, okay, the sense of, what is the sense of exam? Does it require us to know this fact? Does this make us
Yes.
a better,
Civil servant.
whatever
A
you
better
can aspire
officer.
that.
Yes.
So, yeah, so that thing is there. And one more interesting question which I would like to discuss is that father only, like, that question of the mitochondrial diseases. So
Yes.
so there was one caveat which we discussed, recently, that it is science based and it is not technology based. So this was a big shift in thinking, like, what science has,
General
science has
science
accepted.
based. Yes. General science based biology question.
Yes.
And not a technology question. So you
They
approach
are
technology
technology based.
question differently, and you approach
Yes,
biology questions
yes,
differently.
and that will clear your that will clear your perspective, in a whole different way. Because if you look now, it is not knowledge. Okay, I'm not giving knowledge. I'm just sharing my experience. That if you look now, the mitochondrial question with this lens, that okay, science may there are exceptions, so this can be true, right? So you will take that option. And when you link it with there is one more question, that genetic advancement, something that I don't remember exact words. What is possible? So in that, there is like genes can be possible from animal to plant, right? This might sound very absurd. General science doesn't talk about it, but technology can talk about it. Like, is there is a chance of even one gene going there, might be successful, might not be successful. We don't know. That question gives a very open-ended meaning. It might be successful. It doesn't talk about it. It just says, genes can be from animal to plant. And this is where we can get confused. So that demarcation will come only when you have seen these questions, you got it wrong, and then you had a fight. Okay, why this went
Absolutely.
wrong?
Absolutely. Making mistakes. What he's saying is making mistakes is critical. It is crucial for learning whatever, thing you take up in life. और इसीलिए आप सभी को भी मैंने कहा है, we ought to have a target of 300 mistakes, record 300 unique fresh mistakes, revise them. कोई आपको प्रॉब्लम नहीं होने वाली है उसके बाद प्रीलिम्स में. जब तक आप मिस्टेक्स करने से डरोगे, तब तक वो आप कंपैरिजंस और ये जो धनराज बात कर रहा है, ये सब चीजें वो नजर ही नहीं आएंगी आपको. बिकॉज ईच मिस्टेक इज मेकिंग यू वाइजर. आप उसके बारे में सोचोगे तो हर मिस्टेक आपको एक बेहतर सोच आपके अंदर जहन में आप ला रही है. इनफैक्ट जो अभी धनराज बात कर रहा है कि वो माइटोकॉन्ड्रियल वाले क्वेश्चन में बायोलॉजी का एंगल है, टेक्नोलॉजी वाला एंगल नहीं है. अगर आप हमारी जो एलिमिनेशन टेक्निक्स हैं, आप उससे क्वेश्चंस जब सॉल्व करेंगे, क्वेश्चंस की भी लेयरिंग होती है. लेयरिंग इन द सेंस आप प्रोबेबली 30 to 35 40 ऑड क्वेश्चंस आप कॉन्फिडेंटली सॉल्व कर पाएंगे, है ना. अपना लेवल 1 लेवल 2 टेक्निक्स लगा के 35 to 40 ऑड क्वेश्चंस आप होगा कि हाँ, ये आंसर होने का बहुत हाई चांस है. आप जैसे ही 40 से ऊपर की तरफ जाने लगेंगे, आप 45 तक 50 क्वेश्चंस तक जब टच करोगे आप एलिमिनेशन से, वहां पे ये हायर ऑर्डर जो थिंकिंग है कि ये बायोलॉजी का क्वेश्चन है, टेक्नोलॉजी का नहीं है, तो जनरल साइंस का है, तो स्टैंडर्ड फैक्ट होने का ज्यादा चांस है, इवन इफ इट इज यूजिंग वेरी एक्सट्रीम लैंग्वेज और बहुत कॉन्क्रीट हार्ड लैंग्वेज यूज कर रहा है, अनप्रोसेसेबल लैंग्वेज यूज कर रहा है. तो वहां पर आप उस जैसे डोमेन्स में आप जैसे जैसे आप हायर और चलते जाएंगे, 40 को आप क्रॉस करेंगे, 45 को आप क्रॉस करेंगे, उसके बाद आपका जो कंफर्म्ड आंसर होता है ना टेक्निक से, वो आपका कम होता जाएगा. ओके. एंड यहाँ पे आपकी प्रैक्टिस काम आएगी. आपने कितनी मिस्टेक्स करी हैं, आपने मिस्टेक्स को कितना कंपेयर किया है, रिवीजन आपने कैसा किया है, कितनी बार आपने PYQs करे हैं, आपने मॉक टेस्ट लगाए हैं नहीं लगाए हैं. मॉक टेस्ट बाय यूपीएससी पेपर्स ओनली आई एम सेइंग. ओके. आप वहां पे सिलेक्ट, आप क्वेश्चन सिलेक्शन, ये सारी हायर ऑर्डर जो स्किल्स हैं, यहाँ पे आपका जितना रिफाइन आप करते जाओगे, जितना गुड़ डालोगे, उतना मीठा होता जाएगा. फिर इट इज लाइक दैट, right? So when I say that ये अनुज ने 70 क्वेश्चंस किए, राइट, 85 मार्क करके आया था, 70 उसके सही हो गए थे. धनराज 60 करके आया, उसके 49 50 सही हो गए थे. धनराज स्टॉप्ड वेयर ही फेल्ट वो कंफर्ट वाला जो जोन है, जो कॉन्फिडेंट आंसर जो है, वहां तक उसको लगा, वो रुक गया वहां पे। अनुज का एक अलग स्ट्रेटेजी था, वो थोड़ा और आगे चला गया, राइट। सो यही चीज हर एक को, मेरे को, आपको, हर स्टूडेंट ऑफ एलिमिनेशन टेक्निक को डिफर करवाता है। किसी में नॉलेज का कंपोनेंट ज्यादा होता है, किसी में लॉजिकल कंपोनेंट ज्यादा होता है, किसी में कोई सब्जेक्ट में ज्यादा, कोई सब्जेक्ट में कम। तो एक लिमिट के बाद आप मान लीजिए 40 एक क्वेश्चन, 40 ऑड क्वेश्चंस आप एलिमिनेशन से एक डिसेंट लेवल, ये एक यूनिवर्सल सा फिगर हम कह सकते हैं, 40 ऑड क्वेश्चन, 35 टू 40 ऑड क्वेश्चंस हम लेवल 1 एंड लेवल 2 टेक्निक से, अगर 3 बार, मैं आपको 3 बार का टारगेट दिया है मैंने आप सभी को कि कम से कम 3 बार आपने करना है, 3 बार आप करोगे 35 टू 40 ऑड क्वेश्चंस आप सॉल्व करने में सक्षम हो जाओगे। लेकिन 10 बार करोगे तो आप वही चीज 55 क्वेश्चन, 60 क्वेश्चन तक पहुंचा पाओगे। वहां पे नॉलेज भी है, लेकिन धीरे धीरे इंक्लूड हो जाएगी, जैसे क्वेश्चन बढ़ेगा नॉलेज आपका शेयर बढ़ता जाएगा। ठीक है, और कोई डाउट? तो एक क्वेश्चन किसी ने पूछा है धनराज कमेंट्स में, आपने सीएससी सिविल सर्विसेज के पीवाईक्यूज के अलावा भी और एग्जाम के, यूपीएससी के और एग्जाम्स के पीवाईक्यूज देखे, सीएपीएफ, सीडीएस, वो देखे क्या आपने?
The voice is having issues, but what I understand from the question, no, I understood the question though.
हाँ,
Other exams ke dekhe kya nahi? So yes, so I didn't limit myself to only CSC questions. I did saw CAPF and other UPSC, matlab that whole banner ke andar
ग्रेजुएट लेवल
जितने exams
यूपीएससी
aate
एग्जाम।
hain. Yeah, you see that question, because if you see, I give you heads up also. CAPF ka, there was a repeat question. That vector question is there, no? Which vaccines use this as a vector? There was some question, I don't remember. When you did 2 mein aaya tha. So RNA, what, which vaccines use, something like that. So that was a repeat question from CAPF. So it is essential. Like if you want more and more certainty in your, there's no certainty obviously in the exam. But if you want something, you should. One option also, if you want, like, I should have seen this before, then you should practice the other exams which are under the same panel. But always remember that these questions are not on the UPSC lines. Like, these are hardcore. Some of them are hardcore fact-based questions. And what you can learn from these questions is, like, get them wrong and learn from them. Like, it is okay to. That was my. That was my funda basically. Get it wrong and learn from it. Okay, where I went wrong, why I went wrong, how I can improve that. So that
So
was
I'll just rephrase what Dhanraj has said. I think उसका थोड़ा सिग्नल प्रॉब्लम था। क्या मेरी आवाज क्लियर है? Is my signal okay? Guys, can you understand my voice clearly?
yes.
Okay, so I'll
Yes,
just
yes, sir.
I'll just rephrase for the people who will be watching the video also. Maybe signal में वो ना समझ पाए because of bad signal. Dhanraj has said that yes, doing सिमिलर लेवल एग्जाम्स जैसे ग्रेजुएट लेवल जर्नलिस्ट एग्जाम्स का आप यूपीएससी का देख सकते हो। हाँ, उससे फायदा ये होता है कि उस साल में यूपीएससी का माइंड कहाँ काम कर रहा है, किन चीजों के ऊपर वो स्ट्रेस कर रहा है, तो आपको एक थोड़ा एक आइडिया जरूर आपको मिल जाता है कि यस, पर्टिकुलर थिंग्स हैव बीन आस्क्ड बाय यूपीएससी इन अदर सिमिलर नेचर्ड एग्जाम्स। लेकिन वहां पे भी वो ये कह रहा है कि आप गलतियों से सीखने की कोशिश करो, उसको बिल्कुल आपको ये जरूरत नहीं है कि बहुत पीछे के पुराने सालों तक भी जाना है। धनराज, आई होप एम आई सेइंग इट करेक्टली कि पुराने सालों तक बहुत ज्यादा पीछे जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, मे बी 1 साल का, इस साल का देख सकते हैं।
I mean,
आवाज
recent years would be.
धनराज, योर वॉइस इज ब्रेकिंग बडी।
Now is it clear?
नो, आई थिंक थोड़ा सा एक बार।
Hello.
हाँ, कैन यू ट्राई स्पीकिंग?
Now is it clear?
नहीं यार धनराज, आवाज तो वो
Let me rejoin.
रिजॉइन कर ले। वायर्ड माइक हो तो वो देख ले, अगर वायर्ड माइक। सिग्नल का इशू। तो मोटी बात यह है गाइस कि बहुत ज्यादा पीछे तक बहुत पुराने पेपर्स देखने की जरूरत नहीं है। अगर समय है तो मे बी 1 साल का देख सकते हो, अगर थोड़ा और समय है 2 से 3 साल का, बस उससे ज्यादा पीछे जाने की जरूरत नहीं। मेन जो एडवांटेज आपका है वो यूपीएससी के पेपर्स, यूपीएससी के पीवाईक्यू से होगा। ये सब एडिशनल है, अगर टाइम अलाउ करे आप करिए, टाइम नहीं है तो यूपीएससी के कॉस्ट पे ये नहीं होना चाहिए। हाँ धनराज, प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
Now is it
बेटर
better?
बेटर बेटर, हाँ।
So what I was saying is, see, matlab, you don't have to go and search the papers. What you can do is there are enough what is there Telegram channels which do support all this, CF, AFS and other papers. So just go through them. Whatever they are sending in questions, just try to practice 5 questions daily, 10 questions daily, whatever. See the solution videos, go back and see. So there are enough people who are doing this already. What you have to just be aware of it, and if you have time, go and practice that. That is the
सारी
see.
बात ही
It is
टाइम
not
की।
you have to go and out. You kill. That is not like that. But if you are finished, if you are fairly confident about the syllabus, and you want to practice more,
हाँ,
then go ahead and do that.
इट
But
इज
it
इट
is
इज
recommended. It is
हाँ
recommended.
नहीं,
You should
सर्टेनली,
try.
मतलब डिजायरेबल डिजायरेबल है, बट इट इज नॉट लाइक कि आपको करे बिना, अगर आप नहीं करोगे तो आपको कुछ डिसएडवांटेज हो जाएगा एग्जाम में, ऐसा नहीं है। आप करोगे तो आपको सर्टेनली एडवांटेज होगा, लेकिन नहीं करोगे तो डिसएडवांटेज नहीं है। ठीक है, तो अपने समय के हिसाब से चूज करना है। इसको एक एडिशनल टारगेट नहीं बना लेना है कि ये मैंने करना ही करना है। समय हो तो करिए, समय नहीं है तो कंपलसरी नहीं है, लेकिन यूपीएससी के सारे पीवाईक्यूज कंपलसरी। ठीक है, और अगला सवाल है बाकी ये हो गया आई थिंक। और तो in the messages I don't have any more questions. Anyone else would like to ask anything? Yes, Sunil.
Hi Dhanraj. My question is, like, in the course we practice some questions, and usually we get the question which are fresh.
You're talking of the elimination course, right?
Yes, sir. Elimination course, right?
Hmm.
So we get a question, we apply our understanding, and we get the feel of what this question is trying to say, and then we get it right or we get it wrong. This happens when we are solving in home, like here itself.
Correct.
But in the exam, I understand that there is a lot of pressure.
True.
I mean, whatever strategy we are talking about may or may not work. That depends on the day, last day, what happens.
Yes. True.
But I'm more concerned about how to, be calm under pressure, because I understand that when I solve in a calm manner, when the question is there and I'm with a cool mind, I can solve it there, and I get the question or whatever question is there, I get that right, and I am able to feel the question also. Right. This happens when I'm at home, but when I am in the exam hall, there must be a tremendous pressure,
Correct.
and plus the other factors add in, other random things. Then how do you maintain that cool and get that feel of that question, and then using all that whatever we have learned in the course and everything,
Yes.
apply at that point of time and get the answer? Should I
So,
repeat it?
yeah, I understood. Sir can give a better answer about this. We had these sessions also. But what the key takeaway from last year, and even in there is a more philosophical angle to it rather than answer angle. The general thing is that see, what will happen on that day we won't know. That is true, right? Anything can happen. See that on that day we got this 2 pair correct, 3 pair correct. No one expected. So there will be some amount of uncertainty in the paper that we should have in our mind. Initially, that should be said, that it is fine that the paper is going to come out in a way which I am not very sure about. So that first you should have, well, first I had that thing in my mind, okay, this is going to happen, because in before that, whatever attempt I gave, I studied from a different perspective and all. So what I expected at the paper was different. So, but this time what happened is I expected, okay, there will be some, some certain unexpected should be there, and that I should be able to accept. Second thing is how to be calm. There is only one thing which you can practice. It is like, treat that day also like a normal day. I know it is very difficult. It might sound very a big thing, or an impossible thing, because I am also aspirant. I'm not someone who has cracked the exam, so I can say it. But treat that day as the same day which was there, one day before that, or the month before that, or a week before that. You do the same things what you did. It is not like become very harden, you become very harden. Ye nahi karunga, I just focus on this. I'll just read my books thoroughly again and do this. Treat that day same as what it was, what these days were. So many days have passed. Similar way. You get up, do your daily things and all. Of course, in time-bound manner, but don't make, make your mind, don't, at all
Just a
costs, save your
special
mind
day.
for on
Yeah.
that day. Save your mind at all cost. Whatever happens, save your mind. So keep your all baggage aside. Try to keep it. I'm not saying it will be, always possible,
Perfectly
but
तो नहीं होता है यार, बिल्कुल.
try to keep it
Perfectly,
and treat that day as it was. And of course,
absolutely.
many things help in this process. So I personally do meditation and all. So those things always help. So you can try. I mean, these days we still have 2 months and there is a lot of journey. And I am not saying this. Even the coach, even the people who have cracked the exam say this. That you should practice some amount of peace for yourself, like meditation or anything that will help you to stay. Not, it will calm you, it will help you breathe lightly, not very fast and not like this. So those things does help. Like, these are certain facts which there are certain things which you can take note of, like with a pinch of salt. Of course,
नहीं,
that day no
ये
one
सबके
knows.
लिए बिल्कुल, देखो सजेशन बिल्कुल सही है और यूनिवर्सल सजेशन है. एक और चीज जो मुझे लगता है, इनफैक्ट विच इज इवन मोर फंडामेंटल इन माय हम्बल ओपिनियन, इज यू हैव टू एट अ फिलोसॉफिकल लेवल, जैसे धनराज ने बात किया कि इसका एक मैकेनिकल आंसर नहीं है, एक इसका ऐसा फॉर्मूला बेस्ड आंसर नहीं है, इसका फिलोसॉफिकल लेवल, सोल के लेवल पे आंसर, इज स्पिरिचुअल थिंग दैट यू आर टॉकिंग ऑफ. तो पहले आपको ये रियलाइज करना होगा कि लाइफ में कभी भी 100% रिस्क फ्री नहीं हो सकते. You have to be open to the possibility of risk, you have to be open to the possibility of damage happening, and उसके बाद ही आप में वो आएगा कि यार कुछ ना कुछ तो होना ही है, कुछ ना कुछ नयापन होगा ही. And this is what we are practicing from day one, when we are internalizing this fact that whatever are the number of non-standard fact questions, उसमें से 20% होंगे जो परेशान करेंगे हमको. There will be 20% questions which we will not have much idea about, which will be beyond whatever the best amount of practice that we have done. But in the same breath, it means that 80% questions will fall in the amount of practice that we have done. And this is the reason why we need to keep going through the questions multiple times. You will start to feel that energy of the questions, that energy of UPSC. And this is going to be that one small input which Dhanraj is saying, ki that day will feel like just any other day. The question will change, the words will change, probably topics, some things will feel fresh, but the base energy that is there, it will remain the same, which you have been practicing since you have joined this course. इसीलिए मैं बोलता हूं कि कोचिंग इंडस्ट्री के क्वेश्चंस को तब तक नहीं करना जब तक पीवाईक्यूज में ग्रिप नहीं आ जाती, बिकॉज वो पीवाईक्यूज को, इट इज लाइक अपोजिंग एनर्जी. कोचिंग इंडस्ट्री एंड यूपीएससी क्वेश्चंस, पीवाईक्यूज हैव गॉट लाइक अपोजिंग एनर्जी. यूपीएससी लॉजिक बेस्ड है, कोचिंग नॉलेज बेस्ड है. तो अगर आप लॉजिक वाला जो फील है उसको स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं करोगे तो वो आपको ब्रेक इन कर देगा नॉलेज हेवीनेस, दैट स्ट्रेस दैट द कोचिंग इंडस्ट्री विल क्रिएट, और वो आपको स्टेबल नहीं होने देगा. तो जो सबसे पहली चीज आपको करनी है, स्टेबल होना है, तो यूपीएससी से शुरू करो. जब वो फील आ जाए कि हाँ अब मुझे फील हो गया कि इस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस पूछता है, इतना डेप्थ में पढ़ना है, दिस इज द डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ टेक्सचर्स ऑफ द क्वेश्चन, उसके बाद तुम उठाओ कोचिंग इंडस्ट्री या व्हाटएवर यू आर फीलिंग. एक बात हो गई क्वेश्चंस की एनर्जी. दूसरी बात जो धनराज कहना है, हाउ डू यू मेक दैट डे सिमिलर टू द अदर डेज. ट्राई टू हैव अ रूटीन इन लाइफ. राइट, ट्राई टू हैव अ रूटीन इन लाइफ। तो आप लोग सब स्टूडेंट्स हो, तो आप जिस उस हिसाब से उस समय पे उठो, समय पे सो हैव योर रूटीन एक्टिविटीज इन दैट मैनर। अगर सिर्फ वो प्रीलिम्स वाला डे आपका कुछ अलग ही दिन है, बाकी पूरा लाइफ ही आपका अलग चल रहा है, तो फिर वो एक शॉक तो होगा ही, बॉडी में भी बायोलॉजिकल शॉक भी रहेगा, राइट? सुनील, did
Yes,
that
sir.
answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, thank you. uh what else? Okay, so Dhanraj, I've got some more questions in the comments. Art and culture में क्या किया यार ईटी का?
So
कुछ हुआ?
see, I'll tell you. See, in our course, we focus on. We don't focus on. I mean, not don't focus, but we focus more on like the logicness, like whatever logic we can derive from the statements. Okay, for art and culture. But art and culture, to study art and culture, you have to think in a different way. It is not. It will not be as straight line as it sounds like. So art and culture may, because it is rooted with the culture, there will be some angle of language, there will be some angle of whatever you have heard, whatever stories you have heard, whatever discussions you have done about the culture. So these things will link into the question. So there was one question on bhakti, okay, in 2022, and when I read that question, so that time I didn't feel to even read all the other options. There was one option which I read, and that I felt should be the answer, because the bhakti which you read from that perspective in the culture, whatever you read from the culture perspective should be learned from a very rooted perspective. It should not be read from a vague perspective. So when you study that, you'll directly get, okay, this should be the answer. And of course techniques help, because certainly when the single statement question and all we'll discuss, so that time we'll get to know, okay, where what kind of things art and culture mein, how can we solve more accurately. But culture should be read with the little bit bias of the language, bias of what you have heard, bias of the stories what you know. So these things will help you in these things will add the, of course there is no guarantee art and culture will get solved, because they are very tough questions, too tough to handle, and of course in that moment you would get it. But techniques help, because last year there was a Chogini, that question was there, so there was some catch of elimination. We could do it. We could do that. There was Dholavira question, which again from elimination. There was this playwright question, that again from elimination. Nuni's question, that again from elimination. So these things come from elimination. But Nuni's ka question देखने का अलग perspective है. There is one more perspective to look at it. If you have studied culture from that perspective, what happened in this period? What was the significance of Vijayanagar Empire? So I gave an exam today, and that had this thing that the questions were based on specific period, Harsha Empire what happened, or Gupta Empire what happened. So you should know the basic, the culture ka, you should know the basic. Okay, what happened in that period? What happened in Gupta period? It was a very golden period. So everything good things might be there, right? Might be. I'm not saying will be, but might be there. Harsha Empire, that there was a very decline phase. So what kind of things will be there? So culture ka elimination will help up to some extent, and after that what you have heard, or what you have
Yes.
what the level at which you have discussed. Language bias aata, because there was one question which we discussed, what is the difference between viharas and chaityas and viharas, right? So there was a beautiful line which, when we discussed it that time, came up, that do you observe the houses nearby? So it is said this vihar or something vihar. So this is where the culture comes from, right? Culture is not something outside the box. So that is the only thing which you can pay attention to while solving the culture questions.
So the point is, in fact, culture, यही चीज हिस्ट्री में भी अप्लाई होगी, ठीक है? हिस्ट्री एंड कल्चर दोनों में सेम चीज अप्लाई होती है। आप बिल्कुल जीरो नॉलेज से क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करना चाहेंगे, जैसे आप साइंस एंड टेक एनवायरनमेंट के बाकी सब इकोनॉमी के क्वेश्चंस को आप लॉजिक से बिल्कुल प्योर 100% लॉजिक से आप क्वेश्चंस कर देते हैं, जरूरी नहीं है कि वो हिस्ट्री एंड कल्चर में होगा। इनफैक्ट हिस्ट्री एंड कल्चर में कुछ बैकग्राउंड चाहिए। यू नीड टू नो यार कि औरंगजेब जो है थोड़ा रिलीजियस फेनेटिक था। यू नीड टू नो कि अकबर जो था थोड़ा ओपन था। अशोका का कुछ सर्टेन काइंड ऑफ दैट बेस यू नीड टू नो। यार ये राजा पॉजिटिव था या नेगेटिव था? गुप्ता में गोल्डन पीरियड की बात होती है, हर्षा में जैसे बोल रहे डिक्लाइन की बात, विजयनगर में अच्छा पॉजिटिव की बात होती है। तो ये बेसिक्स तो पता होने चाहिए। अगर ये लेकिन ये कोई बहुत ज्यादा बड़ी बात नहीं है अगर आपको इतना पता है, और जो कि अगर आप PYQs करोगे ना 1979 से, आपको बहुत अच्छे से ये चीजें पता चल जाएंगी सिर्फ PYQs के थ्रू ही। वहां पे आपको जो जिस तरीके से स्टेटमेंट्स दिया है, जिस तरीके से कॉम्बिनेशन आंसर्स दिया है, आप विजयनगर के सारे PYQs कर लो, आपको फील आ जाएगा विजयनगर पॉजिटिव था या नेगेटिव था, पता चल जाएगा। आप मेडिवल हिस्ट्री के सारे PYQs कर लो, आपको उसका पता चल जाएगा, राइट। तो अगर समय नहीं है तो सिर्फ PYQs भी कर लोगे ना, तो भी आपको एक स्टार्ट मिल जाएगा। जो कॉन्टेक्स्ट की हम बात कर रहे हैं आपको वो मिल जाएगा। लेकिन अगर A से B का फर्क नहीं कर सकते, अकबर और अशोक में फर्क नहीं कर सकते, तब कोई मतलब नहीं है फिर ये क्वेश्चन होने। आप फिर एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर सकते कि एलिमिनेशन आपको सॉल्व करके देगा हिस्ट्री एंड कल्चर में। इसीलिए हिस्ट्री एंड कल्चर में थोड़ा सा नॉलेज का एंगल हो जाता है। जैसे वो बोल रहा है धनराज, ये थोड़ा सा आपका एक वर्ड्स का हेवीनेस, वर्ड्स हैव मीनिंग जो टेक्निक है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाती है। और ओवरऑल बाकी सब्जेक्ट्स के कंपैरिजन में हिस्ट्री एंड कल्चर में एलिमिनेशन का सक्सेस रेट थोड़ा कम। ये आप लोग जब प्रैक्टिस करोगे PYQs आपको कुछ समझ में आ जाएगा। यस अपूर्व। आवाज नहीं है, अनम्यूट करो।
Mute. Yeah, sorry. I didn't unmute.
Hmm.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Hey, Dhanraj. So this is a beautiful session. So my quick question is about economics. So regarding economics, we see a lot of terminologies. And last year, we saw that IMF was one of the key topic from where questions were asked, as well as RBI, and RBI in terms of how it is dealing with the economy was also one of the topics where questions were asked. So how did you deal with preparations for economic section regarding the questions which are being asked? And one important underlining fact over there is, did you take any special efforts for preparation of terminologies in economic section?
Apoor, allow me to answer that. Dhanraj, can I
Sure.
hijack your question?
Yeah.
I'll just, in the interest of time, Apoor, because your question is not hardcore about elimination. Your question is about generally how to prepare economics, as a subject. So
Yeah.
the thing is, if you notice the PYQs, most of the questions of economy are around logical interpretation and implementation of concepts. For example, some question would be about inflation. A lot of questions have been asked about inflation, right? So what will they ask? What are the sources of inflation? What are the reasons of inflation? How to manage inflation? What is the role of RBI? What is the role of government, right? Similar kind of thing will be about fiscal deficit, foreign trade, this, that. So how best to go about economy is you identify the key themes that have been asked in that subject, right? 5-7 themes will be there. National income is one, foreign trade is one, this government finances, taxation is one, money and taxation. So these key themes you identify, and in these themes, the key terms: what is fiscal deficit, how to manage it, how is the government doing that, what is RBI, what are the functions of RBI. These are the things which will be given in all standard books, right? In all standard books. Once you understand these concepts, then you see the question. The exact nature of the question you will never be able to answer from knowledge angle. Okay, this question was there: bond yields in India are influenced by what all, right? And US Federal
Inflation
Reserve
index
also
more.
was mentioned, and so many things were mentioned, right? So you have to know what are bond yields, what are bonds, what are bond yields. That's all. And what you have to know is whether we are a closed economy or an open economy, right? Based on this, only this much basic information, then you can interpret the question, how wide or narrow is the question statement, and then process the statements based on the red lines established by the question, right? So this is more to do with reading the fundamentals, the terms, and knowing their meanings, rather than going in for the, like, you should not miss the woods for the trees, so to say. The woods, bird's eye view is important. Just understand the whole structure of the economy. That NCERT is also there, right? Indian Economic Development NCERT. It contains the story of your country, a country's economy. Read that NCERT, right? The basic trends only you are supposed to know. Once you know these, 80% of the questions in economy you will be able to solve via logical thinking. I am able to do that. Okay, I am able to do that. Although my background is in commerce and economy, but it has been many years since I've touched my books, right? But questions like NEER, नीर के ऊपर नीर रीर के ऊपर क्वेश्चन आ गया था, या कुछ इंटरेस्ट कवरेज रेशियो, बहुत स्पेसिफिक अगर कुछ हो जाएगा वो मैं आंसर नहीं कर पाऊँ, right? It will require more nuanced knowledge and refreshing of the concepts, but basic आ जाएगा, tax rates पे आ जाएगा, inflation पे आ जाएगा, वो question solve हो जाते हैं, है ना? तो massive chunk of questions you will be able to solve via just common sense if you are able to understand the concepts. That's all. Economy में तो तुम्हारा current affairs भी बहुत ज्यादा नहीं पूछता है, करंट अफेयर्स के भी हार्डली 10% क्वेश्चन प्रॉब्ली, करंट अफेयर्स का रोल ही नहीं हो रहा है ज्यादा इकोनॉमी, एटलीस्ट इन द लास्ट 2-3 इयर्स तो नहीं हो रहा है, ठीक है ना?
So one small quick question. So as the trend has been, the questions have been oriented from the macro area and from the economics level, and I think that the same trend will go on, right? The macro will be the favorite.
Yes.
So yeah, that's
hopefully, but you can never be absolutely sure about these things. But you know, the things are, what is UPSC gaining by asking 2 technical questions? They are not looking for economists in the service, right? They are looking for people who know the difference between taxation and, you know, government finance probably. Okay, gender budgeting का meaning तुमको basics पता होगा, impact पता होगा, microfinance क्या होता है, financial inclusion, basics, always basics. उसके ऊपर ही game हो रहा है तुम्हारा. Don't go for the trees at the cost of the woods. That is what, you know, the bottom line is in economy. In fact, in all static questions. In polity, still we can say that more of factual information becomes important, but in subjects like economy, certainly your
conceptual based
your concepts are more important than factual knowledge. Yeah.
Okay.
So any other question for Dhanraj from the angle of elimination? Anyone, guys? Okay, let me read the messages then. Apoorv, I would request you to, you know, lower your, like, you have this icon, raised hand icon on your this thing.
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so sir, is it the right time to take the ET course? Yes, of course, it is the right time. If it is not the right time, I will not accept admissions in the course. It is the right time, don't worry. Sir, PYQs solve कैसे किया at the same time 9:30 AM to 11:30 AM? Yes, if you can solve it in this time slot of 9:30 to 11:30 and then the CSAT wala time slot, it's better actually. You know, you are just rehearsing that day. That will happen on 28th of May. It is good if you can do that. नहीं भी कर सको तो कोई मैटर नहीं है यार, ये सब माइनर इश्यूज होते हैं. नहीं कर सको तो कोई मैटर नहीं, बट इफ पॉसिबल डू इट, कोई उसमें बुराई नहीं. Buddhism, Jainism names are very similar to each other at a point in exam. वो हम अभी one statement questions करेंगे, solve हो जाएगा तुम्हारा issue. Hi Dhanraj, what changes did you made in your preparation to qualify prelims in? चलो Dhanraj, चलो ये बताओ. Neeraj has asked this question. What changes did you made in your preparation to qualify prelims in your 3rd attempt from the previous 2 attempts? ये तो तुम ही बता सकते हो.
Not qualify, I mean the GS part, I could say. So,
GS
so
part,
the only difference, the only difference is the mindset shift, I would say. The moment, the first time when I entered the exam, I remember I thought it is based on utter knowledge heaviness, and we should have a lot of knowledge.
You're talking of your first attempt.
Yeah, I'm talking about the first attempt. So when I gave it, that time it was my bias that, you know, it's based on knowledge. Whatever I'll read, then only I can solve the question. So when I came outside also, I discussed the same thing with my friends. Okay, then that time, you know, someone who was guiding me told, no, there is a logical angle to it. You know, this is how you should look at it. Then I started thinking on those lines. I refined it something more. But then, you know, market is very harsh. They will teach you good lessons. So they will, you know, only पे wrong कर दो, knowledge ये standard होता है वो, मतलब these keywords and all, they started the whole thing.
Talking of the YouTube free techniques.
Yeah, not free. Even I took paid ones. So even the paid ones were this, and you know, the worst reality was when the whole course got over, they had a disclaimer that these techniques are not foolproof. So you know, that was the day all the people in the course got very sad. You know, what are they saying? And that's exact thing what happened in 2021. It changed the game. It changed how the industry works. And that is the same thing which happened in 2022 2022 also. It changed how the things happen. But after the lesson of 2021, my thing was, when I joined this course, there was a shift in
talking of
thinking.
my course
Yeah,
now?
ET, yeah, RDI course when I started.
Okay.
So there was a shift in thinking, like how to think about the question. It is not like always you need too much of knowledge, or it is like you don't require to read too much of content just because it was asked in one PYQ. You should think about it in a more broader way, more what makes sense, what is desirable, what is non-desirable, what is common sense, what is not, what is related. So those things, that clarity came about how to think. This is the change, how to think in the paper about the questions. That changed. Everything else remains same. Your practice, your general books remain same. I read those only. Of course, would have added some more, something like that. But that thinking changed. The thinking changed from a very subjective way to a more objective analysis and more finding what can go wrong. And this, at least 2023 wala course, it's more refined. When we went to 2023, at time it was 50-50.
The technique
People
name
who are
was
from
50-50.
last,
The technique name
yeah,
was
they
50-50,
would
yes.
remember, what is 50. And we solved question with 50-50. So it is more risky now. It is more refined. So it is a benefit only that we have more refined ways now. But these things also evolve with time. But the key thing is how to think. And I'll tell you how many people have joined this course, I don't know. And how many people will watch this session, I don't know. But the number of people who attempt prelims and the limited number of people who actually know how to think about the exam is it's a very huge gap. And we can make a difference only in that gap only, because we know how to, we can learn how to think rather than just going in the exam and trying to do stuff. So that change in thought process is very much required to solve any any CSE paper.
Any CSE, और ये constant practice से आता है guys. आप अगर सिर्फ एक बार PYQ करके आप सोचोगे कि आ जाएगा, वो नहीं आएगा आपको. इसीलिए मैं बोलता हूँ, गलती भी अगर किसी क्वेश्चन में हो रही है, आंसर नहीं समझ में आ रहा, उस टाइम पे होल्ड कर दो, उसको नोट करके रखो कि इस साल का ये क्वेश्चन है, नहीं हुआ मेरे से, आगे बढ़ जाओ. वापस जब आओगे सारे क्वेश्चन करने के बाद, उस क्वेश्चन को देखोगे ना, यू विल हैव अ डिफरेंट vision, mindset about that question. This is why the 3 times rounds that I have told you to do for the PYQs, that is what वो रमा देगा उन questions को, वो thinking को, वो energy feel करने लग जाओगे. उसके बाद ही सिर्फ कुछ बातें हैं जो मैं बोलूंगा तो आप उसको महसूस कर पाओगे, आप उसको absorb कर पाओगे. नहीं तो आपको लगेगा बकवास कर रहा है ये, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. अभी ये धनराज की जो बात बोल रहा है कि वो एवोल्यूशन होता है, पिछली बार 50-50 के नाम से वो टेक्निक जो अभी आप एचटीपीसी आप जो कर रहे हो वो 50-50 करके थी, एंड इट वाज अ वीकर वर्जन ऑफ एचटीपीसी एक्चुअली. And it was that because I realized, I noticed this technique, I stumbled upon this way of thinking at a later part of the course. तो मैंने उसको, जो मेरे को उस टाइम पे समझ में आया, जिस बेस्ट तरीके से हम कर सकते थे, वो बच्चों के साथ शेयर किया मैंने. उसके बाद महीनों तक सभी 1200 क्वेश्चंस को, फिर सभी टेक्निक्स को कंपेयर किया, सब उसको रिफाइन किया. और यही बात मैं तुम लोगों को बोलता हूँ, इस बार भी ऑफिशियल आंसर की आएगी. कुछ क्वेश्चंस होंगे जो गलत हो गए हमारे, वी वुड बी प्रॉब्ली वेरी श्योर अबाउट दोस क्वेश्चंस की यार ईटी से तो यही आंसर आना चाहिए, बट देखेंगे हम एग्जाम का आंसर तो कुछ और ही उसमें आंसर होगा, राइट. तो इसीलिए मैं तुम लोगों को मना कर रहा हूँ कि तुम यूपीएससी की ऑफिशियल आंसर की नहीं देखना एग्जाम से पहले. 2022 वाले प्रीलिम्स की सीधा जाके एग्जाम दे के आओ, तुम्हारा एग्जाम अच्छा होगा. ऑफिशियल आंसर की देख ली, दिमाग खराब होने लग जाएगा, बिकॉज फिर डाउट करने लग जाओगे एंड यू विल क्रिएट मोर प्रॉब्लम्स फॉर योरसेल्फ. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है जो तुम्हारी टेक्निक्स नहीं कर सकती. 20% मार्जिन ऑफ एरर, वो मैं तुमको पहले से ही बता के चलता हूँ, and we should be open for that also, because 80% is a huge number which you can achieve if you are open to just a small 20% margin of error. Okay, so be open to making mistakes so that you can gain from the 80%. अगर वो 20 के चक्कर में रहोगे ना, तो फिर वो 80 में भी लुढ़क जाओगे, वो प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है, फिर वहां डाउट आने लग जाएगा. That is point number 1. And the latest evidence of this evolution is, ये जो अभी हम बोल रहे थे कि वो mitochondrial वाला disease passes from father only to the mother only, या कुछ ऐसे करके था, to the child. ये जनरल साइंस का क्वेश्चन है एंड टेक्नोलॉजी का क्वेश्चन नहीं है. ये जब अभी धनराज से कुछ दिन पहले मैं बात कर रहा था, तभी रियलाइज हुआ, राइट धनराज? उसी दिन मैंने बताया था तेरे को कि ये तो जनरल साइंस का क्वेश्चन है, इसीलिए ये, एंड दिस इज व्हाई इट वाज स्टैंडर्ड फैक्ट. इट वाज सो इम्पोर्टेंट कि ये किताबों में तो इस टाइप की चीजें मेंशन होती है ना, जेनेटिक्स में वो ब्लड रिलेशंस और वो आई कलर और वो सब ऐसा होता है
You
चीजें।
also related this question to if you go back more years back, right? There was a
Yes.
question, if you can find it, it will be great. So there was a question ki mother has diseases, father has these diseases.
Yes, yes.
What will be the son will get or daughter will get, some kind of this question was. And
हाँ,
on the face value of it is a very difficult question. No one
Yes.
will know. Only a
Yes.
biological someone student will
Yes.
know. But
Yes.
UPSC expects you to know. I don't know if it expects you to know, but there was a lesson that game of exceptions. The game of exceptions is there. So you should be open to that. And there is a
ओपन
risk factor also. I mean, in exam, if you want to attempt, you
हमेशा रहेगा,
attempt.
हमेशा रहेगा अटेम्प्ट रहे। और 2011 से पहले हम ईटी इसीलिए नहीं लगाते बिकॉज इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन जो ये कह रहा है वो थोड़ा फैक्चुअल क्वेश्चन ज्यादा होते थे उससे पहले, तो वहां पे हमको जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं। 2011 ऑनवर्ड्स ब्यूटीफुली आवर टेक्निक्स आर गोइंग टू वर्क एंड दे आर गोइंग टू बी मैजिकल फॉर यू इन द एग्जाम हॉल। सिर्फ ये है कि गलतियां करने के लिए ओपन रहो और प्रैक्टिस करो 3 बार क्वेश्चंस को, मिनिमम 3 टाइम्स इफ पॉसिबल 10 टाइम्स। Okay, the PYQs from 2011 to 2022, and you will be, a smiling person at on the evening of 28th May. Anything else, guys? Anything else you want to ask? No?
सर टेस्ट सीरीज से रिलेटेड एक डाउट पूछना था।
हाँ।
सर सभी टॉपर्स ने सबने मतलब चैनल पे भी बोला है कि थोड़ी बहुत टेस्ट सीरीज करनी चाहिए, मतलब 5 to 10, ताकि थोड़ा सा आइडिया बन जाए। तो सर ये बेटर यही रहेगा कि जो अप्रैल का हमारा मंथ है इसमें हम इस काम को फिनिश कर ले, ताकि मई के मंथ में ओनली पीवाईक्यूज और उन सब का रिवीजन रहे, ताकि पीवाईक्यूज का ही माइंडसेट बना रहे। क्योंकि सर मैंने टेस्ट अभी किए थे, तो सर टेस्ट करने पे माइंड पूरा चेंज हो जाता है, क्योंकि उसमें
हो
लॉजिक्स
जाता
लगते नहीं है इतने,
नहीं हाँ।
और फिर
कोचिंग में तो है यार इशू।
और सर मूड भी थोड़ा ऐसा होने लग जाता है, और अगर
खराब
नहीं
होता है।
करते हैं तो बार बार माइंड उस तरफ जाता है कि यार टेस्ट नहीं किया, टेस्ट नहीं किया, क्योंकि सब बच्चे करते रहते हैं। तो ये बेटर यही रहेगा कि अप्रैल में इसको मतलब फिनिश कर लें, बस
देखो
एक
मैं यही सजेस्ट
टास्क समझ
करूंगा।
के।
हाँ नहीं ठीक, इट इज मोर ऑफ जस्ट योर मेंटल सेटिस्फैक्शन कि यार
साइकोलॉजिकल,
मैंने,
यस सर।
हाँ साइकोलॉजिकल कि मैंने यार ये नहीं छोड़ा है, ये भी
यस
कर
सर,
लिया है, इस टाइप से
बिल्कुल।
है। तो व्हाट आई सजेस्ट इज, अभी तुम्हारी कल क्लास होगी वन स्टेटमेंट क्वेश्चंस की, ठीक है? एक ही ट्रेनिंग क्लास है, उसमें कुछ बहुत ज्यादा है नहीं, ज्यादातर कॉमन सेंस से ही होता है, कुछ 2-4 बातें वो बता दूंगा। वन स्टेटमेंट क्वेश्चन ऑलमोस्ट लाइक 275 क्वेश्चंस आर द टैगिंग हो गई है ईटी रिसर्च चैनल में, you people can see the tagging. So almost like 275 questions are there from 2011 till 2022 which are doable via our techniques, and this is of course conservative tagging. अगर आप थोड़ा सा practice और करोगे तो you will be able to do more than these number of questions. So in total अगर हम 1, 2 and 3 or more statement questions की total number को add करें, about 325 or 330-ish questions are there in multi-statement questions, 75 are there in two statement, and about 275 are there in one statement. तो total figure ये around 700 पे जा रहा है, ठीक है? 700 questions, 1200 तो questions ही total हैं 2011 से लेके 2022 तक, out of 1200 questions, and conservative tagging है ये, ध्यान रहे। conservative tagging से 700 questions हम कर रहे हैं अपनी टेक्निक से, राइट? तो इस इनको जब तुम व्हेन यू स्टार्ट टू प्रैक्टिस दीज क्वेश्चंस, एक हफ्ते में यू कैन मेक अ टारगेट कि कल क्लास हो जाएगी वन स्टेटमेंट की, उसके एक हफ्ते के अंदर अंदर तुम वन स्टेटमेंट के सारे 275 क्वेश्चंस हैं खत्म कर दो प्रैक्टिस के। उसके बाद यू स्टार्ट टू डू दीज पेपर्स ओनली, यूपीएससी वाले ही जो पेपर्स हैं ये तुम 2011 से 2022 तक के मॉक्स लगाओ, ठीक है? डेली तुम ये वाले मॉक्स लगा लो। तो अभी क्या तारीख है? आज क्या है? 1 अप्रैल, कल 2 अप्रैल है, ठीक है? 2 अप्रैल को तुम्हारा वन स्टेटमेंट का क्लास हो जाएगा। 7 से 8 अप्रैल तक तुम टारगेट बनाओ वन स्टेटमेंट पूरा खत्म करना है। 10 दिन, फिर 12 दिन उसके बाद से 11 अप्रैल से शुरू कर लो यूपीएससी के पेपर्स के मॉक, प्रीवियस ईयर पेपर्स के 2011 ऑनवर्ड्स प्रिंट निकालना, एक्चुअल मॉक कंडीशंस में उसको देना है दोबारा से। 10 एक दिन तुम्हारा यहाँ जाएगा, तो अराउंड 22 to 23rd अप्रैल तक यू वुड हैव डन ऑल ऑफ दीज 1200 क्वेश्चंस एटलीस्ट वंस। ये तो मॉक के फॉर्म में ही, एलिमिनेशन वाले तो अलग ही हैं फिर उसके बाद, ठीक है ना? तो 22 से 23 तारीख तक तुम्हारे यूपीएससी के पेपर्स खत्म हो जाएंगे। उससे फिर ये शांति हो जाएगी कि you have a feeling for PYQs, तुम वहां पे grip आ जाएगी. Then you can move on to your FLTs. ओके, कोचिंग वाला जो FLTs है किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूट का, जिसका भी तुम्हें क्वेश्चंस अच्छा लग रहा हो, 2, 4, 5 जितने भी तुम्हें पसंद आए, you can give the FLTs, but of course don't take those FLTs too seriously. Just see कि फ्रॉम रिवीजन एंगल, जैसे धनराज कह रहे हैं, नॉलेज एंगल, रिवीजन एंगल से क्वेश्चन मार्क किया, रिवीजन वो हो गया हल्का फुल्का, ठीक है, दैट्स ओके. सिर्फ साइकोलॉजिकल सेटिस्फैक्शन के लिए उसको ये नहीं करना है कि कोचिंग के मॉक में अगर बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस आ रहा है तो बहुत हवा में उड़ गए और बुरा परफॉर्मेंस हो गया तो जमीन में घुस गए, उसकी कोई जरूरत नहीं है यार. देयर इज नो लिंक बिटवीन योर कोचिंग मॉक्स एंड PYQ, तुम्हारा एक्चुअल पेपर. ठीक है, वो सिर्फ एक प्रैक्टिस के लिए, एक रिवीजन के एंगल से. कुछ जगहों पे एलिमिनेशन लग जाएगा, कुछ जगहों पे नहीं लगेगा, इट्स ओके, टेक इट लाइटली. ओके, उसमें अपना स्ट्रैटेजी रिफाइन कर सकते हो कि यार मुझे पहले मेरा स्ट्रॉन्ग सब्जेक्ट कौन सा है, मेरा वीक सब्जेक्ट कौन सा है, तो स्ट्रॉन्ग से शुरू करो, वीक पे जाओ. स्ट्रॉन्ग में भी इजी वाले क्वेश्चंस है ना, कौन से टॉपिक में तुम ज्यादा अच्छे कर लेते हो, वो थोड़ा सा स्ट्रैटेजी के एंगल से तुम उन पेपर्स को देख सकते हो. 5-7 पेपर वो लगा देना. उसके बाद थोड़ा बहुत हम गैप ले लेंगे वन स्टेटमेंट क्वेश्चंस के बाद, कंसोलिडेशन पीरियड के नाम से. एंड देन वी विल बी डूइंग 2011 to 2022 अगेन डेली डिस्कशंस. वो डिस्कशन में फिर से तुम दोबारा से मॉक लगाओ यूपीएससी के ही पेपर, और because by that time you would have done all the questions, all the techniques, then you can ask whatever doubts you have about standard, non-standard, any kind of question, any kind of technique. We'll see, we'll discuss the doubts and we'll try to see, we'll become more wise. कहाँ तक हम आंसर कर पा रहे हैं, कहाँ तक आंसर नहीं कर पा रहे. So we'll understand कि यार अपना लिमिट्स क्या है टेक्निक्स का, और अगर कुछ नया सीखा कुछ हो तो we will be reaching the cutting edge in those discussions. And बस उसके बाद once the elimination classes end, I think 20 मई को या कब हो रहा है तुम्हारा, once the elimination classes end, बस उसके बाद PYQ से रिवीजन अपना करते रहो. अपना बेसिक जो तुम्हारा CSAT के मॉक्स और जो भी है बेसिक्स, हल्का चीज, कुछ भी नया नहीं, कुछ भी मॉक 20 तारीख के बाद मॉक नहीं लगाना है तुमने. ठीक है, एंड एक हफ्ता थोड़ा रिलैक्स करो, पेपर से एक दिन पहले 27 तारीख को थोड़ा छुट्टी लो, ऑफ लो अपना, 28 तारीख को बढ़िया से एग्जाम देके आओ. सिंपल यही रखना है. तो जो विंडो हमारे पास कोचिंग मॉक्स का है, अल्टीमेट जो डिस्कशन का भी जो सार निकला, जो कोचिंग मॉक्स का जो विंडो है, 5 से 7 कोचिंग मॉक्स का विंडो रहेगा, प्रॉब्ली फ्रॉम 23 अप्रैल से 30 अप्रैल के आसपास तक का. ठीक है,
थैंक यू.
टेंशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं, जरूरी नहीं है कोचिंग मॉक्स का, और उसमें जो परफॉर्मेंस है वो कोई मैटर नहीं करता है. तो टेक इट लाइटली, हैप्पी गो लकी एटीट्यूड होता है यार, फिट रहोगे. एनीथिंग एल्स? सो दिस इज अबाउट CSAT, what you fail in exam and how have you changed by now. I think we first have to restrict this session to elimination. If there is anything elimination related doubt, please ask. If not, then I'll stop the recording. Then CSAT का कुछ भी तुमने पूछना है तो कर लो. We should not deviate from the objective of this video. Anything else any student has got to ask about elimination? No? All right. So I'll stop the recording.